Daycare, it ain't fair, but it could break your pockets, better beware. Yo, what's up YouTube? It's YT back again with another one. I need every single person watching this video to go ahead and give it a like. If you're brand new to the channel, go ahead and smash the subscribe button so you can see more of these videos in your subscription box. And make sure you ring the post notification bell so you can be notified exactly when I post, man. This one right here is about the cost of daycare. This is nothing new to this channel. We've talked about this before. It's expensive. It's mad expensive. I'm not going to lie. And it seemed like the price might have just increased since the last video. So I'm not going to speak on it. I'm going to let y'all hear it for yourselves, man. Let's get into it.
So you mean to tell me that some daycares got people out here paying $300 a week for care, and that's per child? When did that happen? My mother used to have an in-home daycare center with a teaching program because she used to be in the school system, and she had it for over 10 years up until, I believe, 2014. And, during that time, I think initially she was charging like $90 per week per kid, but eventually it got up to $125 per week, which wasn't a steal of a deal. That was actually comparable to what other in-home providers and other centers were charging at the time. Some of the kids were with her from birth until they went to kindergarten, but others transferred to other centers that had full-fledged preschool programs. And even then, they were only paying maybe an extra $25 or $30 from what we were charging on a weekly basis. So for $500 to $600 a month, you could get full-time care, which was reasonable. So to see these prices now, that is just crazy to me. And I realize that, costs do go up and sometimes you have to charge more, but I just hope that some of these centers are also paying their teachers more.
Every business owner then got greedy. That's what you can say, because, I don't really remember daycare costing that much back in the day. Or nobody would have had their kids in there. A lot of people had the hood daycares, though. Like, she even talked about, like, a lot of people put their kids in the, the daycares where somebody got a house and they just call it a daycare, basically. They register it and everything. It's registered, but it's a home daycare. It's not a building, I got a family member that run one of those, right? That's a way better alternative. It just got to be somebody that's trustworthy. A lot of people not trustworthy. They might not be watching over your kids the right way. You want to watch where you put them and who you put them with and who you leave them with. But I'm saying that could be an alternative too. You just gotta look. You gotta find what you can find, or it's gonna be somebody out there that's willing to do it that don't got nothing going on that'll watch your kid.
How much are you all paying for daycare? I've got 2 kids. Okay, I am paying $2,675, and that is with a sibling discount. My daughter, who just moved up from the infant room, when she was in the infant room, her tuition was $1,764 a month. $1,700. How can anybody afford daycare? My son, he's 4, so he's in pre-K right now. His tuition is $1,161 a month. Can he be in kindergarten yet? Can I enroll him? I have 1 more year. Drop in the comments how much you guys are paying for daycare.
She used the right word for show. Tuition. That's definitely tuition that she paying. She paying almost $2,700 per month for daycare. Man, my kid better have a whole side of the house that's to itself or herself. I don't got kids, but you see what I'm saying? If I was paying that, they better have their own room. The kitchen better be theirs. You better not even step foot in the living room. I don't even care that you live here. Nah, not no more. You half live here. Nah, this is a shared residence now at this point. And if they run that daycare out of a building, my kid better have joint ownership over it.
Everyone's talking about how expensive childcare is, right? But how expensive is it really? Truly, is it actually that expensive, or are people exaggerating here? In case it's helpful, these are the actual rates for 2024-2025 for the daycare that my kids go to. So if you have an infant, this is going to be your most expensive situation, right? For 5 days, it's $114. This is a daily rate. So the more days you go, the daily rate is less, but $114 a day is still incredibly expensive. It does get a little bit lower as your kids get older. So when they become toddlers, it's $101. And when they become preschool age, it's $82. You drop below the $100 mark, which is pretty fantastic. But for context, I will show you what my rate looks like for an average month. This is my tuition for last month. So you're going to see that my toddler is almost $2,000 a month and my preschooler is about $1,500 a month, give or take, right? We're going to round up here, but for the total, it's $3,393 a month for 2 kids in full-time daycare. Now, if you're doing the math here, this adds up to about $40,000 a year for 2 kids in full-time daycare. So when people say that they're not having children because of the cost of childcare, this is what they're talking about. This exceeds my mortgage. It exceeds most people's mortgages. In every state in our country, it is more expensive than rent, or double the cost of rent in some states. And so when people are saying, I'm choosing not to have kids because they simply can't afford childcare, this is what they are talking about. And the suggestion that they should either leave the workforce or look into another form of childcare is often given without education, because yes, there's many forms of childcare available to parents. Right? There's a nanny share, au pair, in-home daycare, center-based daycare, town-based daycares. You can rely on grandparents if that's something that's available to you. But oftentimes when people talk about the cost of childcare, people assume that they're going to some fancy schmancy daycare and it's incredibly expensive. But that's just not the case. The daycare I go to is a town-run daycare, okay? It's not a corporate center. It's not a home daycare, but it is one of the least expensive in my area. And it is still almost $3,500 a month for 2 children. I'm spending $40,000 a year, okay? And so when people are talking about this, you have to assume that they've done the work. They've done the work to figure out what works for them, for their schedule, for their family, for their children, but also what's been available to them. Because what people often don't know is not only is daycare incredibly expensive, it's very hard to find. It is not easy to find childcare right now. There is a lack of affordable childcare. And so, yeah, people are choosing not to have kids for many reasons, and childcare is a very big one.
I am so fucking fed up with this country, honestly. Right now, I want to rant about daycare.
My kids are at the same facility. It goes from 3 months to VPK. So my son is in preschool and my daughter is 8 months. Now my son just graduated preschool, but they have a summer camp. Now the summer camp applies for all ages. And this place is ridiculous because they close for random days, teacher planning days for an infant. I mean, you're not teaching them. They are whatever. That's a story for another day. So they are closed for an entire week. Now, there's set rates. Pay continues. We are paying continuously. However, now I have to pay a person to come to my house and watch my 2 kids. And the cheapest that I have been able to find is $30 an hour. And for a week, I mean, holy shit. I can't afford to live. I might as well stop fucking working. Like, I work as a nurse practitioner, and I can't afford this childcare. Please, make it make sense. This is, I can't survive here anymore.
Now that ain't right. That ain't right. She paying for something that she not getting. That's called getting jugged. That's called getting finessed. She got finessed for real. Why am I paying for something and y'all closed for a week? I need to be reimbursed. I need a refund. I need a week worth of compensation. For real. That ain't right. But listen, this next one right here is about how the workers are getting paid. The people that's actually watching these people's kids. You know, these sitters, these babysitters, they're not really getting paid that much. So that's an oxymoron within itself. Y'all charging all of this and making the parents pay all of this. But why come the workers not getting paid fairly? That's a word that we heard on this channel a lot. A lot of people being underpaid.
Hey everyone. In my last video, I discussed the fact that childcare workers are among the lowest paid workers in the entire economy. And I think this left some of you wondering how it's possible that childcare teachers could be paid so little given how expensive childcare is at the moment. And so what I want to do for you right now is use real data on real center-based childcare providers to illustrate how both of these things can be true at the same time. Okay, so parents pay an average of about $16,000 per year for full-time infant care in a center. And let's say that the center serves 8 kids per classroom, which means that the center makes a little over $127,000 per year per infant classroom. Well, once expenses are deducted for things like rent and materials and food and administrative costs, the center has about $82,000 left to cover staff salaries and benefits. Let's also say that the classroom, this infant classroom, operates for 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, 48 weeks per year, and the classroom is required to have 2 teachers there all the time in order to maintain a minimal level of quality. Well, this translates into 4,800 hours of required labor needed every year to run this infant classroom. Well, once you divide the $82,000 by the 4,800 hours required labor, you get an hourly wage of $17. But some of that $17 is used for benefits, and some of it is used to help pay the salaries of the administrative staff. This means that these deductions bring the wage for these 2 teachers in this infant classroom close to $15 an hour. So hopefully that highlights how you can have very, very high prices for childcare at the same time that you pay really low wages to the workers. The really sad thing about these calculations, though, is that they're relevant only to very mediocre quality providers. Let's just say that you wanted to reduce class sizes or pay the staff the same as kindergarten teachers, or provide retirement benefits, or allow for more professional development opportunities. Yes, doing any one of these things is great. They would lead to higher quality care, but they would, in addition, lead to even higher parent fees. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Please continue to follow along, and until next time, take care.
If you made it to the end of the video, you a real one, for sure, for sure. I appreciate you watching, man. Drop a comment below, let me know. You know I got to rhyme with it every time with it. Drop a comment below and let me know, are you currently paying those high costs for babysitters, for childcare? Let me know. I want you to rant in the comments below before you go. It's YT. I appreciate you watching. Peace.